Hi, everyone. Welcome to this edition of P&G Tips. I'm Gary in Stockholm.
Hi Gary, I'm Paul in Barnsley. Hi everyone.
We got another inspirational week this week where we're talking about different kinds of sites and places we can go to get inspiration. We've done a series of your inspiring tips, and we thought we'd do a series of some of the things that have inspired me over the last year or so.
Yeah, I think it's been a good idea because we save lots of bookmarks, we get inspiration. So to be able to share that with some of our followers, because we've got subscribers to this channel, we've got followers, and I hope that we go down as a bookmark amongst their other bookmark websites of interest and that we can open up lots of interesting avenues. And we could plan many more of these because since I did my last podcast with you on this subject, I've discovered another 20 or so, and some of them just seem so vital that you can't live without them. They're fantastic. So I can't wait to come back and tell you about those. What's your first one, Gary? What are you going to open with?
So there's no I don't want to put them in a ranking order. These are just some of the inspiring things that I've looked at over the last year, and some of them, in fact, most of mine this time aren't specifically kids book things. A lot of them about design, art, photography, all these different areas that I still find inspiration from. And so I thought I'd start with the first one that was called Abs Do, and I'll share my screen and I'll just show what it might look like here.
You say that they're all about design and illustration, but I did have a little zip through some of them and thinking
Yeah,
about in context of the children's picture book world. Well, I'll mention it as we get to them. There's lots of ways we can make use of these for promotion, especially.
exactly. Yeah, because like it's not only just like learning how to like draw better or how to create characters or how to work on your storytelling. There's also like pure inspiration of just seeing what people are doing, getting a sense of the, let's say you know, the trends in terms of art and illustration, looking at photography. I really love cross-pollination in
Mm.
general whenever I'm working on anything. Maybe almost too much, but I love pulling from different intellectual areas, and so I find that sometimes like looking at different things really opens up my mind a lot, and that can help me then focus on, oh, when I'm working on this, maybe there's an aesthetic that I would like to introduce into this piece, and when I do that, it often results in something more interesting.
Well, there's the classic story
Um,
of Leonardo da Vinci looking at stains on a wall and being inspired to come up with mythical creatures, or looking at clouds going over. He didn't have the internet, he was just looking at inspiration around him. So it definitely has that kind of effect.
Yeah, and anyone who's ever made any art has done the stain thing, right? We play with this idea of like, let's see what it looks like if we take a coffee stain or blueberries on a napkin or whatever it might be, and it does open up your mind, just to let yourself be influenced by things. So that's the kind of let's say idea or the feeling that I'd like to get through some of the things that we're going to talk about today. And the first one is this AbsDo site, and you can see right away, looking at it, that it's from, let's say, very cute, kind of very 3D type renderings to something that looks very much more like a picture book over here, this little chicken burger thing. And this is just right, what's on their site right now, and it's updated, quite regularly with different interesting things. And of
Whereabouts
course,
at the
then you can.
base? Sorry, whereabouts at the base? Do you know that?
I'm not sure actually. In fact, let's see if it says right here where they come from about us. Yeah, we can look and find out. Um, Fabio Sasso,
Oh, just a personal blog.
Portuguese. Looks like it's like Portuguese based.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, design, and it's all about like design, photography, UX, all kinds of different things come up. And what I like about it is that it's simple, but at the same time, once you click in, you can see here there's different, if you're interested in, like, for instance, typography for your, I got some advert here coming up here, so we can click behind it. Oh yeah. So if you're interested in, like, typography, you can look at, oh, this is how like a book might have been
Mm.
laid out and stuff. So there's a lot here that, this person or this group has found interesting. And when I look at it every single time, I think, you can imagine this like yup thing right here easily as part of that
Mm.
style as part of a picture book. You might not have thought of doing something in that way in terms of using fonts and stuff. So typography is also really interesting and can be a part of your illustration, language. There are tutorials here. Um, see, oh yeah, and tutorials on how to do things in different kinds of. These
Mm.
tutorials have been around for a while, and they give you different. So this is like a 3D effect. This one is using something called Pixelmator, to give that kind of. Oh yeah, what his name
Half,
right
half,
out of my head.
yeah, the
Pop up.
half tone effect.
Yeah, the halftone effect. So there are all different types of, tutorials that you could sort of dive into. Often I look on this particular site on the illustration side because I just think sometimes, you get things and you see things that you don't necessarily see because it's someone else has curated this. So then you start to think, oh, I like that. And then you can go down that pathway if you want by, using Pinterest or whatever it is that you might use to go further with different
My favorite
like
film,
research.
one of my favorite films there, The Big Lebowski.
Yeah. It's
Um,
funny is as you know, I got late teen boys now, and they have just found out about the Big Lebowski, and they're like, "You see the Big like," and I was like, "Of course," and they just love it. Yeah, so they think he's so cool. So so he's getting a rebirth right now with the kind of younger generation.
The Treasure Trove, yeah, it's wonderful.
Yeah, so there's a lot there. And everything from, like, look at this kind of, really installation type work, to pure like editorial graphics, for or sales graphics to then, yeah, like things that, like I said, could be on a picture book. There's one guy, I can't remember his name right now, but he did this little dog thing. He was speaking at one of the conferences in the UK. Um, he has this dog character who's very well known, and he's an illustrator, and he does this kind of style with it. It's like this French inspired.
Yeah.
I, I don't know if you remember his
Alex
name,
T.
but I can't.
Smith. Alex T.
Alex
Smith.
T. Smith, yeah. And as soon as I saw this illustration here, this guy, I thought, I might be doing something. I can't remember Alex T. Smith, and I see this, and I'm like, that would be so great to just like find myself into this style here.
Mm. And I noticed
So,
they've all got Pinterest pins at the top, so you can just collect them into your onto to a Pinterest mood board.
exactly. Yeah. So that's my first one on the list here. We can move on if you want to.
Yeah, let's
Um,
move on. The next one on your list is the marginalian. So,
Margin Alien. It used to be called, like, I think, Brain Pickings. And it's more text-based and inspiring on an intellectual level. I think her name is Maria Popova is her name. Let me yeah. Oh, there it is. Yeah, Maria Popova. So she's been doing her website or her this thing for quite a long time. It was called Brain Pickings. I've been on the email list for a while, and now it's called the Margin Alien, or at least this is. And you can find out so many interesting in-depth things that you wouldn't necessarily have seen. And she's like obviously scanning different articles that have to do with creativity, with thought, and then rewriting or reworking it, I suppose, to like, understand it even better. So, for instance, this is just the one that came up that's live right now. Um, uh, what bird? birds dream about. I mean, what a great idea for a picture book. What birds dream
Mm.
about, right? And totally, and it's based on an article or an essay originally in the New York Times. And when you start to look at this, you think, what? I mean, why? It's just like our idea picker thing when we do workshops or something, Paul. It's like,
Mm.
what birds dream about? Why haven't I thought of doing that? And right now, you get a kind of inspiration. And of course, this isn't a kid's book, so it's totally open for us to interpret and dive into whatever, however we want to. So I love this site, and I read these articles quite often, or scan through them, and just if something perks my interest, I'm just totally fascinated. The universe in verse, right? Look at that.
Is it all?
15
It's
portals
not
to
all
one.
Maria Popova. Is it? Is it different people
It's
on there?
Maria Popova. So it's not Andrea Popova. I know that Popova is like a news person too, right? Um, but this Maria Popova has been, um, yeah, is different than Andrea. I don't know if they're related in any way or anything like that.
Mm.
But like the universe in verse, what a great idea, Um, sometimes some of when I'm working on like abstract paintings or something, I love to take these kind of either macro images and then paint them up as paintings, or
Yeah.
take those really removed perspective pictures that you see from airplanes with all these kind of patterns,
Yeah. Yes.
because it becomes something that's totally different, and that just comes, maybe you think of that idea because you've seen this, the universe and verse or whatever.
It
So there's a lot of
stretches your imagination, pushes your imagination when you see things like this, rather than always
exactly right.
being in the same groove or furrow.
Mm.
There are some kids' books there. Look,
Oh
they
yeah.
look like kids' books.
Yeah, the snail with the right heart, a true story. Great
Mm.
children's book move hearts, yes, but they also create the common heart that beats in the chest of humanity by articulating in the language of children. There you go.
I love that shell, the artwork on that shell. That's nice.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So it's easy to like go down let's say the rabbit hole of this stuff,
Mm.
and and dive in more and more. And we could almost, I can feel both of us almost getting sucked in to each of these pages, right? Because it's like something that you think, oh, this would be interesting to dive in a little bit more on. So
What
that's my
birds?
second.
What birds dream? Ob's already given me an image in my mind of all the birds at roosting time, settling in one tree, settling down to share the same dream or something like that.
Yeah, and then you who work on frogs so much, like what do frogs dream? I haven't seen a story from you that's like, what do frogs dream, right?
That might be one
Like
that's not even in my notebook sketchbook yet, but will be shortly.
exactly right. It's just like taking that, you know. So yeah, there's a lot there that you can, use in your own area. So that's what I love, that cross-pollination again.
Mm.
Let's look at the next one.
The next on your list you've told me is boom.com.
Yeah, there we go. Um, Again, just everything from beautiful imagery. I like to look at the art, and then of course it's like drawing, illustration, painting, and sculpture. But then also the photo side of the site can be quite inspiring.
Mm.
And there's just so many wonderful pics and things to look at in this. A little more, let's say, art and illustration than the first two that deal. You can squeeze in some more kids book thing, but any of these things could be used as a kids book. Look at this kind of surrealism here. I'm
Mm.
just clicking on Suiche. Look at that.
It's good to see illustrators and artists we've not heard of before. And like the title at the top of the blog says, get lost in the content, lose yourself in the content. So you can
Exactly.
spend hours in here looking around.
Yeah, it's just so much wonderful work out there. Now, here's something that you could imagine, the street art um, kind of style.
Mm. That's interesting.
Yeah, and there's a lot from artists around the world. Sometimes we tend to look close to home, right? And by
Mm.
opening up and look, there's 358 pages of this, just like, inspiring stuff.
A few years
And
ago,
this is just a,
I used to subscribe to Creative Review, and
oh yeah,
it's the kind of thing that every issue they used to cover a different artist or a different kind of artwork from different parts of the world. It stopped becoming as relevant. Maybe more of it is online, so I don't subscribe to the physical copy anymore. But it's just
no.
reminded me of being opened up to that kind of breadth of artwork.
And you really see what people are doing. Um, and again, everything from, physical art to
Hmm.
to illustration, um, purely drawing this could almost like the David Hockney kind of feel, but not obviously, but this kind of these flat planes and stuff. I mean, there's just so many different you know, bits and pieces of inspiration. It makes you think, I don't want to waste another second doing anything else, but just creating.
Mm. Yeah,
Um,
it does inspire to go and do it yourself and maybe try some different
mm,
materials. Some of those cut paper images look nice.
yeah.
As primarily an illustrator, visual artist, it's inspiring. So I'm hoping that people who write text for kids' literature can look at this and, like we've already said, what do birds dream of? That can give you the idea
Mm,
that you can bounce off for
mm.
written ideas. It doesn't all have to be visual.
No, exactly. Just some of the titles, of the pieces, it didn't used to feel like this. What a beautiful title, you know.
Mm.
Um,
And that can apply to so many things.
yeah,
Makes you
these are the
realize just how
photography.
makes you realize just how creative the whole world is, any corner of the world, and how we always have been.
Yeah, right. I'm just getting stuck now looking, but it's worth it's worth looking at.
It immediately
Look
makes
at
me
that.
think, I don't know if it the same to you, how have they created that? What materials have they used? Is it digital? Is it hand drawn? Is it cut out? How would you reproduce that?
Yeah, sometimes if you read closely and look into the artist a little bit more, then you'll find out their process, right? You can often
Mm.
find out people share their process and stuff like that. Um, I imagine that, look at this Dune, beautiful painting.
Nice and pure
I
choice.
imagine that, yeah. Now you make me want to know. Oh, yeah, so then there's a link to a website here or Instagram, and you can follow and then obviously get more information about how the artist works.
They brought out an annual as well, with some of their best stuff.
Yeah,
Not just the
but
technique either, not just the visual imagery, but the color palettes that they're using. You might think, oh wow, those colors together is just the mood I want for something that I'm working on.
it's so true. I've been someone asked me, I've done these like chakra paintings, so like based on yoga and stuff like that, and I've done a series of them. And someone asked me to do a series of illustrations for a course that they're giving, and everything. So I started to map out that. And the thing about the chakras is that they have colors associated with each of them. So
Yeah.
the first thing that I'm doing is just scribbling, different colors, right? And just to try to get a sense of, oh, like, boy, I
Oh,
don't know
yeah.
if you can see here. Yeah, just like this is like a color. Yeah, just like colors. Wait, maybe it's not showing with the blur thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
but just trying to get like some colors down, to think, oh, because sometimes yeah, you can find every color digitally. Let me put this away before I keep talking.
Yeah.
You can find every color digitally, but it's not exactly the same as when you actually play with paint, you know, then maybe I'll take that color in, cut things up, and then start to develop the illustration. And that helps you to break away from being purely digital too. Sometimes me specifically, I can get too bogged down in uh, in the digital thing, and it's good to just step back from that a little bit sometimes and play a bit again.
We went to a sculpture exhibition a couple of days ago, William Kentridge from South Africa. And part of it, he does monumental bronze work, but he also does small maquettes. And he starts by tearing black paper up into beautiful little silhouette shapes, really aesthetic torn blocks of black. And there were big piles there for people to dive in and start tearing, and paper clips and glue for sticking things together. And I thought, right, I'm going to come home. I'm going to do something for our wall downstairs.
Mm.
So, yeah, just getting your hands on it's something so easy, so simple, but it's not something I'd immediately turn to. But it was
No, right? It's crazy.
fun. The next one
That's one thing.
on
Oh
your
yeah, before
scary.
what you just said before, yeah, I'll go on to that right now. But what you just said, is important to go on field trips, and to go to see things like at museums or in galleries and stuff like that. That's really an important part of the process too. So the online thing is wonderful, and we can just go zip around, but actually being in the environment of seeing something physically is also super helpful.
It's a vital part, especially take your sketchbook and draw while you're there, make notes while you're there. I
Yeah,
was going to say Colossal is the only one that I'd heard of when you sent me a list of your inspiration. So in the past, I have bookmarked this, but then long since forgotten it. So I was pleased to get
yeah.
take a look.
There's so much here again. It's reminiscent of those first ones. We're going to get onto some other more, different things in a minute. But again, like, art, they have an art tab. They also have craft tab. So you can see like people working with, physical things a little bit more. Because we're talking about exhibitions and stuff, one of the things that I've seen recently, which I didn't really, first of all, I never really appreciated, but then I never really was into, is this text work with textiles.
Mm,
And then recently, I've been to in Berlin. I went to an exhibition that had these beautiful works with like I can't remember the name of the artist right now, but just this beautiful work with like textiles, these giant, massive things. And then I went to another thing called Breathe, and they what the artist did was she developed these kind of sculptures, but made out of like cloth and things like that. And then into those, they wove in these LED lights, these tiny little, like mini lights, right? The strands of light. And then they had that with a technological side in the back that was like kind of breathing. So it was synced up to this kind of sound of breathing. And when you watched that, you just sat there and there was like many of them around. And then they had like like a dark room where you could just watch three of them like moving and everything. And I was like, this is beautiful, right? It's
Polarizing it sounds. Yeah.
yeah. So there's there's like all kinds of things maybe that isn't on your radar, but that you get open up to when you see something, and then you go to the exhibition, or it could be the theater or whatever it might be, right?
I remember we tried some textile design when I was at college on the degree course, and it didn't suit me. But some friends of ours
No.
work in textiles, don't they? Hannah Sanguetti, she
Oh
works
yeah,
knitted figures and dolls. Lynn
that's
Chapman,
right.
sketchbook illustrator and urban sketcher, has moved on to working in textiles and felts and fabric.
Mm,
Yeah, I like the cardboard sculptures there.
yeah, it's always something. I can go back to that.
Mm.
That's crazy, right? And this is under the design side, then there's photography, art, crafts, And there are hundreds of pages on these, by the way. So, right now we're just scratching the surface so people can take, oh, here's like a kind of like a textile kind of crazy.
Mm.
image, but it's so amazing when you start. If you saw that in real life, you'd be like, yeah, braided horns,
Mm.
spiraling tendrils, lion's mane, all this kind of stuff. And you're like, oh, yeah,
Yeah, that's powerful.
yeah. So things have gone like from beyond, like they cross the border from craft into art, and you can get inspired by whatever it is that's driving you, and then you know. Whether it's a pure art piece or whether it's design with a, let's say, a purpose or some kind of um, commercial interest or whatever it might be. Any of these things can be expanded on. um, you know
I like those painted
so,
rocks, the chocolate candy wrappers, painted rocks.
all right, yeah, right.
Oh,
It's like, well, why not,
I've just been out to a couple of schools doing book events for World Book Week, and that's the kind of craft that would really interest them. Not necessarily rocks, but on some old throwaway rubbish. If you then gave it another purpose,
Mm.
painting it up to look like some of their favorite sweets.
Yeah, and it's like that kind of cross between like graffiti, uh, you know, um, craft, small pieces that you could have. It all blends in things that are important to you and the time of now, whatever is happening in your world right now. So yeah, there's a lot there.
You just
We
need a
can move
big,
on if you want.
we need a bigger
Sorry.
art studio though. I collect things like that. I create things, the shelves and boxes and drawers just full of this stuff, things on the wall. I always wonder, should I get like an extra garage room, like a small museum, and lay things out that I've collected?
Yeah, you should. I'm so I've got like a small studio down here in the basement of my place. And I always want more space. I'm like, how can I figure out what to do to get more space, But then I've thought of renting myself into another studio, but there's this immediacy, which is great if it's right in your spot, in your place. But you want a place, I want a place where I can get a little messy too, because often, especially if you're working digitally, everything's like just nice around you and you're in this
Yeah.
little screen. And it's good to, like, yeah, I was just showing that, just scribbles, just let yourself be scribbly too. Um, yeah. You want to look a little bit at the next one, James Gurney.
Yeah, let's have a look at James. He's getting out and about with his sketchbook,
Yeah.
plein air painting.
Exactly. He's a real proponent of plein air painting. He's also he has this book on dinosaurs. He's been involved in the film industry quite a bit, but it seems like his love is going out and painting in plein air. And when you watch his videos, and there's many of them, you
Mhm.
really can get inspired. He talks about what kit he uses. He talks about, what it's like to paint on location. One of the things that I find always interesting and nice is that he tends to work quite like small when he's out and about. So his objective isn't to create some big art piece. It's to be in the environment, to capture what's happening and to really, develop his observational skills. And he talks a lot about that kind of stuff too.
The art of
Um,
looking is a huge part of it. Like you just said, the observational skills, looking, understanding what you're seeing, and then being able to just to capture that mood in color. I watched one yesterday.
exactly. But you watched one of his things yesterday.
Yeah, and like you said, it does inspires you, makes you want to go out and do it.
It made me
Yeah.
think that one session, which we had a long time ago, was a plein air painting session at the picture book retreat, and that might be something worth having as like an option. Just saying to people, whoever wants to go out and sketch, we can go down. We can paint around the grounds, of course, but you can go down to the little river there, both on this side, and you can get out and explore a bit. it might be worth doing that as a breakout session or something.
That sounds a good idea. You and I
Yeah,
could even do it. You could get out from where we live here, me in Barnsley, you in Stockholm, and just get a little video
definitely,
of us drawing what we can see. We've got
definitely.
5 minutes left of this podcast.
All right, okay. Let's keep racking. We'll keep racking along because it'd be
Be
good
nice
to
to go
wrap
in
it
and
up.
look at one of James's videos, but maybe you have introduced it and we just move on to the next one. Unless you've got anything more to say about him.
No, I mean just that, he's super inspiring. He's like both like a big illustrator in terms of like doing these dinosaur movie. I think he did like the dinosaurium and everything. So he's like can get very much like uh illustrative, but he's also super good at being on location. And so I find him super inspiring. He works a lot with color. I think I have his book Color and Light. You learn a lot from that too, how to like really work with color and light. So yeah.
Fantastic website.
Yeah. The next one is sort of just a fun thing. And I discovered it because I was in Argentina for a while, quite a few years ago, and I was doing a lot of things with like street art and hooking up and meeting different street artists. And I found this street art city. So let's type in a city here and we'll zoom in. What city do you want to look at? And
Well, there's one that I'm particularly interested in near me, Sheffield, and that is
Sheffield City in the UK. Watch.
yeah, that
Zing. Now, yeah.
there's a
And I
huge
can,
tower block that's painted with a heron that is superb.
and where is that?
Let
If
me
you can
look.
guide me.
City centre. So we're round about number two, where you are there.
Yeah.
Oh, I can see it. Just to the left of Sheffield, there's a pink dot.
Yeah.
Behind that one, the one underneath that pink dot. Oh, that's Pete McKee. It's that. I've been and stood in front of this giant heron, and it is incredible.
Wow. Yeah.
That artist is Peaches.
Peaches.
I can't begin to imagine the logistics of putting an image like that onto the side of a building. How on earth? Well, you can see down there,
Yeah.
get bottom left picture, there's a gantry.
Yeah.
So she's lowered by cranes to paint it, but then getting the fidelity of the image as she's
It's
working on it.
incredible, right?
But that's, yeah, that's brilliant to be able to. Can you upload? Can you photograph ones that you like that maybe not be on there and then you upload them?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know how it's curated actually. I didn't think about that. But I'm sure there must be a way to share something with whoever it is that's running this.
Maybe they are all observer led and uploaded by people in the street who've seen them. What about near you? Anything in
Oh,
Stockholm?
yeah. Yeah. Let's look at Stockholm.
If this cuts off suddenly, we'll just come back again and edit it together to say
All
goodbye.
right. Wait, let me go to the map here. Boom. I got my little, the window for,
Yeah, the search place is gone. I can see it
yeah.
suggesting other places near me. That's good.
Oh, wait, let me go back this way. This is probably the fastest way. Hold on. There we go. Yeah. Oh, here we go. Stockholm.
Street art cities.
So,
A lot of water.
yeah, that's a beautiful. There is actually this is just a regular piece of like street art. There's actually a place south of the city which is very known for street art. Let me see if I can find it.
Wow, that's
Oh
photorealistic.
yeah, yeah. Look at that, right? Oh, this is that area. And so they've got loads of different things here.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. So there you go. So there's a a whole world of stuff. You can find things around you. You can make take a visit to a place like a place nearby. A friend of mine was in Lisbon and went on like a street art tour.
Mm.
So that's like a very popular and interesting thing to do.
Well, they
It's
do that
definitely worth
around
exploring.
Bristol for Banksy artworks, so it's well worth popping on an itinerary if you're traveling.
Exactly right.
And just dialing it back to kids' books again, if you're a
Yeah,
children's book illustrator and you manage to get a commission to put a piece of work on the side of a bookshop or a library in your hometown, if it's one of your
yeah,
book characters, what fantastic promotion and advertising
yeah.
just to get your name known and about.
Now you got me put in Bristol here. Oh, well, anyway, there's so much stuff, right? It's just like amazing.
Mhm.
So that's like a just super inspirational, fun thing to explore.
It is. It's excellent. I'm going to have a look around that.
Do we have time for one more before we
I think
cut, or do we?
let's cut there. We'll save the others for another time.
All right, yeah, let's do that.
If we've lasted this length of, is it 20 minutes that we get, then that's probably long enough for this
Yeah,
episode.
yeah. So as you can see, there's loads of inspiration, right? And these are just like the tip of the iceberg of stuff. There are podcasts, there are, more websites with people sharing their artwork. There's so many different places to go. And we hope that this is just like one spot where we can sort of take a look at some of the things that are inspiring us.
Definitely. And we'll keep popping back and doing different roundups of our inspirational sites every so often. But we've got other exciting subjects in the pipeline, and we'll tell you about that next time. So thanks,
All right.
Andy.
So, yeah, for now, bye from me in Stockholm.
And bye from me. Bye, everyone.